I remember stepping on top of the stool and, I'm a jester! I knew them on that's what I wanted to do, into all the creative way of telling stories. You have your essence, and you can, let's say, pursue other interests, but that stays in you. And all the life experiences, in a sense, really, in combination, is what make you become who you are. What I want to put across is be brave, be yourself, be willing and open to your vulnerability. I think we have to own our emotions and center ourselves in our humanity, believing in one another, not seeing competitors all around. It's really about self-love, what I want to portray ultimately.
When you talk, there's something that I feel you reach me in such a deep way that I can feel the change in that moment.
It's coming from you. I'm giving what I'm receiving. It's you and Valeria bringing the best out of me.
We've been known to do that, I have to say. Hello and welcome to Ambitchiously Intelligent. Thank you so much for joining us today. And before we begin, we want you to retell us the story that you just studied about the beautiful art that you're sitting around.
Okay, well, let me introduce you Madeline. It's an art montage, art collage in paper, original, not digitally, by conceptual artist Aline Jewell, who is really the pioneering of collecting images and mounting them in the conceptual human level of expressing human life, ideas, philosophies, values, call it. This blouse, actually, it's the cover of one of the pioneering book on photo booth, I could say, in the 70s. Published in the early 80s. And it's called Found Photos. So he happens to be my husband, and it's my favorite. Yes, it's my favorite modern artist, conceptual artist, I have to say. And I'm very, very happy and proud to have the original Madeline, because you can find that in print, but not as beautiful as this size. And obviously as the paper cut montage. Wow. And it's all, it's about her, obviously, and who came after her, you know, as a copycat inspired, in the good sense, copycat by being inspired. So you have Madonna there, you can see Madonna, who really made like the most of, you know, yes, and Vogue and expressing herself to the max, which I believe is what all of us women must do, you know, be brave and express ourselves in full force, because we are light and power, and behind all the big icons, all the big men, it's us really making them. That's my opinion.
I'm taking
Jesus.
I'm taking Jesus. It. Jesus, you know, we're light.
Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and all the women that were there supporting the word of love one another.
What a gorgeous beginning of our conversation. Thank you so much for telling us the story. I'm going to introduce you. Aline Jewell. You are a London-based creative filmmaker, writer, and director. Could you please tell us about your name, because it's a beautiful name?
Fine. My name, Aline, it was a French name. It was very, very popular in the 70s out of a love song called Aline by Christophe, who is a very famous, popular French singer. Unfortunately, he passed during COVID, but at the time of when my parents met in Brazil, that's my first language. I'm native, a Brazilian native, born and bred in Brazil. They loved this song, and they thought, well, if you have a baby and a baby girl, she'll be called Aline. And it's actually the title as well of a film, a very interesting film, biopic on Celine Dion in Canada. It's called Aline. So I would recommend seeing that film as well. That you'll hear the song, and yes.
Wonderful, thank you. You're obviously very creative, from the way you talk to the way you dress to everything that surrounds you. I want to ask you, when you look back at your life, you know, and all the turns that your life took, do you remember, can you tell us about the first moment when, you know, it felt like the true beginning of your artistic path, when you knew that that's, you know, that path is calling your name and you must answer? Because I feel from talking to you that that's your story. That's a calling.
Oh, my goodness. I've been asked this question already. And it always started when I really became aware who I was as a storytelling, a creative, you know. I'm into all the creative way of telling stories. And that started when I was 9 years old.
9.
I wrote this monologue of a jester, you know, and during the lunch break in school, I got this stool and walked into the courtyard, put the stool there, and started, you know, telling lots of jokes and like a mini girl woman show. And everyone started laughing, make fun of me, obviously. Who is this? You know, what an up. But that's when it started. And I remember stepping on top of the stool and, I'm a jester! Where's the king? Where's the king? Where's the king? So I knew then on that that's what I wanted to do, you know, tell little stories and entertain and amaze and amuse audiences. And that's how it all began, really, because throughout my schooling up to high school, what I used to do, we had to read literature, as we do in school, all of us. So all the classics, you know, we would adapt into plays. And I was the one doing the adaptations and getting the production together, and in the end, you know, directing, sometimes acting as well. So the creativity side of pulling, you know, ideas and sourcing from inspiring, you know, powerful literature starts from my upbringing, really, throughout my life. And I thought, because obviously I come from a very provincial side of Brazil, not the international cosmopolitan Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo. So filmmaking per se didn't come alive until my mid-20s. And up till then, really, was the theater, the playwriting world, to the point that I'm going to just skip a bit, okay? And then we can rewind. Once I came to Britain and I start my family, my daughter came, you know, that I decided to have a children's theater company, actually. So I had a good spell of that because, yes, my roots come from the storytelling, writing plays. But shall we stop here? Otherwise, I'm going to keep on digressing. So let's pick up.
I'll ask you something about this. I love it. And that's the thing. Like you left Brazil, you restarted your life in London.
Yes.
You became a mother, and we love that. And then you returned to film. Like you've had, so
yes.
What did each reinvention teach you about yourself?
That you have your essence,
mm-hmm.
and you can, let's say, pursue other interests or digress, if you like, but that stays in you. And all the life experiences, in a sense, really, in combination, it's what make you become who you are. We are a product of the environment, as well as what we have in us from past lives, if you do believe that, from your luggage, spiritual, because, yes, we are this bundle of energy. That's what I believe, you know, in a human journey, cycle of life. So after many decades, from since 9 years old, you know, realizing my awareness, oh, that's I'm a storyteller, and that's what I am, who I am, and all that. It came in full circle, because what happened was I left my birth town and I went to what you'd call the Rio de Janeiro of the creative Barcelona, Rio de Janeiro of Brazil, a town called Recife. And I'm very much a Recife, native, if you like, because the last 5 years I lived in Brazil was in Recife. And then I was there doing media, advertising, because obviously my parents did not support me pursuing drama and being a playwright in theater. Oh, no. So do something that, okay, you'll be creative, but down to earth for them. And I love copywriting. I love being creative. So, okay, I will do media advertising in parallel to what I love doing as well. And I mingled with the independent film scene. In fact, many out of them, of my mates then, are doing really well in Brazil. One actually is international, became international, Kleber Mendonça Filho, who was awarded with one of his films called Bacurau, the best, was awarded in Cannes, the jury award, back in 2018 or 2019. Anyway, so filmmaking, storytelling was already in my life in parallel to what I was doing. And I didn't work per se. I was the bridge in advertising with the TV commercial side, the production, the visual side of it. Okay, so I was already 18 then, when I then met my husband, because I came to this country after long back and forth, who lives and gives in to restart in a new country. And I took the plunge after 3 years of having to decide, and came to Britain in 2000. So that's my story of transforming, going back, going forth, but in a sense, having this full circle. Because as I said, I see myself first and foremost as a creative. And I love short form as well as long form, scripted, and serving, serving to tell stories and to connect people.
How was it then, being a mother, which is something I'm also blessed with. It's gorgeous. How was it then for you? Because you told us before that you enjoyed it very much and you stepped away from the creative world. But I mean, you are the creative world. Like, just listening to you, you are it. Like, so it's you, and it's inside you, and it's, how was that?
Yes, what a question, because I kept thinking earlier this morning whether I should share this with the world, because I know this podcast will reach many of us. And that's wonderful. And that's why I find very important that I can be concise, coherent, clear, as well as creative and charismatic in delivering my message. Motherhood. Motherhood was for me the best really phase of my life, because I have passed my values, I have passed my life experiences, to my daughter, giving my best to her. So let's not call it mistakes, but for lack of a better word, misunderstandings and confusions and things that we go through. And if you don't have a so-called role model or guide, can get very confusing and tricky in life. And I suffered that. I suffered that. And I just want to prepare my daughter as much as I could and spend all the time of the world with her. And I had a long, long gap because I arrived in Britain in 2000 after 3 years of having this relationship with my husband. So we've been together for 28 years, married for 25. There's a gap, a huge gap of age between us. The same gap as Macron and Brigitte, okay, the president of France, and Brigitte, his wife. So I'm not going to say how many years that gap is. You Google and you see.
People will know. People know, and if not, Google.
Exactly. Having a family with my husband was important. And we had our first daughter. And she was stillborn. So motherhood became even more precious because Alice, my first daughter, was called Alice. And in this country, and I don't know other countries, but in this country, a stillborn baby is a human being.
Yes.
Dead or alive.
Yes.
And she existed, and she was very, very precious. So priority became in my life being a parent with my husband and motherhood in full force. And then came Rafaela after Alice. And we had the most incredible 12, 13 years, but as I said, I included the children's theater company and pursued other interests as well, in languages, in child psychology, in philosophy is a very strong thing in me, philosophical studies and readings. And I attend a group every Saturday and at the French Institute, La Médiathèque. And that came out my first short film called Sabbatical. Anyway, I'm digressing already, aren't I? Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm up to when answering about motherhood. All included, but the center of it, the experience of enjoying the upbringing, of Rafaela, who is such an inspiring young lady. Such an inspiring young lady. She should be interviewed herself here. Because, yes, we had fun and we shared a lot. She's, I believe, well prepared to the world at the age of 22. She'll become 22 in May. I couldn't recommend more for us who become broody, because it's a matter of broodiness. It's not it's something that it becomes visceral in you, the instinct, the maternal thing, if you have it or not. There's no let's say right or wrong in deciding. I actually have to confess, I hadn't planned, this trajectory on parenthood. It wasn't something I dreamed. It happened throughout broodness. And on this note, that's very inconvenient now. On this note, I'm actually writing now a screenplay called Broody Times. And this is my long-term project for a feature film. So I'm already in 72 pages. It's a very interesting, I think, story on exactly this note of a character called Beth, who is a high-fly PA in the corporate world, very happy, but without children, and with a long-term partner who also is a high-fly businessman, and both of them just enjoy life and without children. But she becomes broody because she's turning 40, and all of a sudden the hormones, which is what broodiness first and foremost is a chemical reaction in the body where we then long something in terms of having children. So is the dilemma then of breaking the news to her partner and changing her life, because let's not sugarcoat, it does change a woman's life.
Yes.
It's a big choice. And that's what Choices, my short film, is also includes in the bag of the dilemma that my character goes through, the arc. So it's all intertwined, isn't it? I mean, I think as women are so overwhelmed in the good sense of all these massive choices we have to take, and then when we take, the consequences of it, and we do so well. I think we are just so wonderful. I don't complain being a woman. I think it's very special. Ask my husband.
It truly is. I want to take us a little bit back, but first I want to say thank you for sharing your story. It's very important, and we all became emotional because there is a truth in that, and there is a power in that, in the way how you're telling the story lovingly, with the memory, with the because it's a precious thing, and for your bravery to share it also with us and with other people. I feel it's very important not to feel alone in this, because a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of families are dealing with those issues silently. So to us, it's very important to share that message as well, because life is life, can be different. But yeah, stepping back into your filmmaking journey, I want to ask you about your first film, Sabbatical. And I want to ask you, what was the original idea or the impulse that you had to make that story?
Yes, as I briefly mentioned, it came out of attending philosophical debate every Saturday in the French Institute at La Médiathèque. I'm part of this group called Café Philo. And and every week we pick a theme, and we then go and discuss that. And there's also a newsletter by the mastermind of the group. And out of the readings, I realized that, this is very interesting. It was a debate over the use of the body. And the focus was the body of the woman, who is imposed lots of things and goes through lots of things. And I just thought, wow, that's kind of, it reads very biased. Why not talking about the body of the man in prostitution, and, in so many other things that we are, the ones pointed at. And so out of this, of a text, I created a context in which I have four characters breaking down into monologues. It's a it's a 9-minute short film. It's on Prime Video, UK and USA. In the UK and the USA. So it's sweet and short, 9 minutes. It's very digestible, but it's a art house, thought-provoking, story, in which this professor is called by the head of the philosophical department of this university, having received the complaint of why the debate, the lecture given, was all about women, and the women felt was a very misogynistic, let's say, biased discourse. So is this kind of questioning, because he's unaware of it, and he denies the intent, wasn't his intention, but that's what most of us human beings, unfortunately or not, we have biases that come across subconsciously, subliminally. And I love playing with that. I love expressing that, because as well as my interests go into philosophy, psychology, goes into psychoanalysis, neuroscience, and as I said, my next feature film, not my next, my first feature film, the one I'm writing, my screenplay is about broodness, and it's a chemical thing as well as a psychological thing. And I love exploring those elements of, what make us human. Human. So Sabbatical is really a thought-provoking story debate, power play. I have these 4 women giving very interesting monologues being intercut with the conversation that the professor and the head of the philosophical department, have, because he has to take a sabbatical to figure out why he gave the speech he gave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you did. And I want to ask you, let's go, because what you're talking about is just beautiful. And when we go to choices, which Katrina Gerlich, you co-wrote it together and she starred in it. And that film looks at the power, the body, and patriarchy. And what I'm wondering there is, like, what did you most want to reveal about, that tension?
Good question, because okay, so from 9 minutes first short film, Sabbatical, I then jumped into a 21-minute short film, and I included a lot. There are many themes in choices. Ultimately, what I want to put across was this, again, full circle trajectory of someone that is discovering her power, priorities, trying to keep together both of the best worlds of her passion for her vocation, her career, and the personal life she has with her partner, who now demands from her a choice of starting a family, and she's not there yet, but there must be an intersection. And it's that self-discovery where she belongs to. And the central theme, if you like, is in a nutshell, is home is where the heart is. And I play in choices with the physical element of where home is, as well as the psychological, emotional, soul level. And in the film, I hope I have achieved that, because that's what it happens to her. She has to figure, and she figures in the end in herself where her heart is. Physically speaking, psychologically speaking, emotionally speaking, because we see a character not really aware, again, not aware of her power, of his power for self-assurance and self-affirmation. I believe you've seen the film. I don't know if I should talk about the film and as a spoiler, to say that, yes, as an actress and having English as a second language and being passionate about Shakespeare, and living in Britain, she develops, out of so many rejections, the complex of not getting parts in playing Shakespeare in English, etc., because English is her second language. She's an Austrian German speaker. And so this is a complex. This is a complex. But she blames on that, whereas it's a case of centeredness and self-affirmation and assurance that she can do this. And that's when she gives herself a chance to figure that out, by going back to her roots and expressing herself in the first language, but realizing that no, home is where the heart is, and in a sense of everything included, not only in the personal sense, but in her career as well. She's passionate about expressing herself in English for Shakespeare's sake, because any art in the first language is the purity of it, isn't it? That's the purity. I would love to learn Russian, to read the Russian classics, amazing, the Dostoevsky, with my favorites. So yes, And I can read Spanish, I can read French. Obviously, Portuguese is my first language, and English. I've been for 25 years a British citizen. So I read, the originals in their first language, if I can. And my character discovers that, she's semi-aware of it, but she becomes really aware once she tests the waters for sure, going back to her roots. And the arc is that she changes. She becomes the person she's meant to be, and using her the essence that we talked about me as well when we started. You can digress and try things out and have your crisis because it's human life. But you return to it if that's what you want, finding yourself.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 100% agree with. There are things that are untranslatable, and it's something that you can. I guess the translator usually maybe brings a part of themselves, and that changes the art piece. And obviously, speaking about someone like Shakespeare, he uses this high language. He also I've been studying him as well, and he also kind of introduced his own language. He created a lot of words and phrases, and which are purely his, and you cannot simply translate that. And I guess it's also true with a lot of film as well. I prefer even to watch film, even if I don't know the language. Let's say I love this Polish director, Krzysztof Kieslowski.
Yes, Krzysztof Kieslowski from the Palace, red, blue, and white.
Yeah. And so I obviously don't understand Polish, but when you watch it in any other language, it's a different film. It's the way how the actors pronouncing, the intonations, those little things that you cannot simply translate. So I understand that. Yeah, there is
absolutely wonderful. And talking about Shakespeare, I'm a big fan. I actually slightly obsessed with the sonnets. And in choices, I use sonnets. And the character it's performing sonnets. And the sonnets are very short, as 14 lines and verses, and so, but it's packed with human, down-to-earth feelings and experiences. And that's what made Shakespeare original during the time, because sonnets and poetry in the 16th century and for many centuries actually were idyllic, and just, this ideal world of Dante Alighieri. Okay. But with Shakespeare, no, it's about orgasm. It's about, being in the streets, in the day-to-day life, and having, the desires that us humans have, and it's very flashy in that sense of what life is about. Because I guess that's the interesting thing. The British, the English, this island, it's very pragmatic. The British are very, very, very pragmatic, to the point that art in this country is kind of self-made. The government does invest, it's not like the German government, the French, and other countries in Europe that make it priority, let's say, in the budget, the national budget. Over here, it's really much about the economy, the working, the industry of, the pragmatic world, corporate. And I guess that's why the artists are so, like Mike Lee, for instance, if you are acquaintance with Mike Lee films, very much into the working life and family affairs. The real human, challenges and struggles we face. Not what I'm saying is that what attracts me to Shakespeare, going back to Shakespeare, I digress, don't I? But I go back.
We love it.
Is that, yes, is the spirit of humanity. And I guess that's why he became so universal. Because
may I ask you something about him? Well, because there's this thing out there that people question if there was just one human being writing all that. If there is one Shakespeare or if there is multiple. What do you think about that?
Yes, there's the conspiracy theories, and there's the, mainstream academic accepted that he is what we know he is. This guy who, son of a priest in Stratford-upon-Avon, and I visited the house actually, because I have relatives and my husband's relatives are from over there, that side of Gloucestershire. So he came from that side. But I have come across a very strong theory out of one of my, at the time I attended many drama courses and workshops for voice development. And Christine Linklater, she wrote this book, Shakespeare Voice or something. I can give you the link some other time. It's a very great book for actors with exercising things. And there's a whole entire end of the book telling that was a lord actually out of the court. I can't remember his name now, but it's the only explanation for why Shakespeare became so universal, because he was a traveler. He knew a lot about the court life, the society at the time, from, the intellectual world, whereas the one that we are sold as William Shakespeare could not have had the life experiences to really, write The Merchant of Venice, for instance. Okay, or Measure for Measure, Measure by Measure, Measure for Measure, that is set in Denmark, right? And all the parallels could only have come from a person very well traveled, very well educated, and mingling with the world that in the place, we have that insight of someone who have had the experience. So that's fascinating, and I would love to have that the theory by Christine Linklater, the one, because it makes more sense. I think by now that should be disclosed really, and that I think because Shakespeare came alive, if you like, in the Victorians. Everything became very popular from the Victorian times. With Britain being Britain during the Industrial Revolution and dominating nearly 3/3, really the whole planet, really. So many out of the empire. So, but it would be too much, that's what I read, to say, well, Shakespeare was this upper class aristocrat who had to use a common name because, yes, he himself was embarrassed to, come out as an artist. So was a fabrication for the sake of keeping low key the whole thing. But I think by now it should be reinvestigated and because it makes more sense.
True. Interesting.
Right. It's all beautifully kind of makes sense now, your story. It all kind of, it's like a small little puzzles because, it's very colorful. It's very joyful, the life that you're describing. What I want to ask you, and I don't know how much details you can disclose. It's something that you shared with us about your upcoming project, about Ukrainian photographer and Russian art curator. If you can tell us
Yes.
what was the inspiration behind it?
Oh, okay. We're going parts, and I hope I don't digress, but if I do, bring me back. Okay, so this is my short-term project, short, medium term, if you like, because I will have to then pass on to the post-production side of things, and that can linger. But yes, I'm finishing filming this short film called An Encounter. Okay, and it's about British Ukrainian photographer, unknown, upcoming, aspiring to break through, who meets an Russian art curator. Okay, and she is successful, well established, London based, name it. So they meet, and obviously they have expectations for one another, and but those expectations are hurt by miscommunication, the outer conflict that is happening between their nations, their roots, but first and foremost, the inner conflict that metaphorically is what is happening in the outer world of their lives and roots. You know, values. I mean, the culture, the faith, and in a nutshell, it's a story about connection, falling out, and reconciliation. Because that's what they want. They want peace in the outer, but in the inner self. But that peace, and again, it's great that we talked before about all my interests and what I try to express and put across in my films, is the exploration, investigation of the biases that are unconsciously in us. Because she wants to know why. I mean, for my Russian art curator character called Yana Barkan. Yana Barkan. I really researched my names. I went to the most beautiful names, and I think Yana Barkan is great. She wants to understand, and she doesn't need Victor Polonin in her life. Okay, the photographer is called, the Ukrainian photographer is called Victor Polonin. She doesn't need. She already has her world well settled, and she's a busy, successful art curator. So for her to include someone who is challenging and remind her of so much hurt out there, as well as in her inner self, because she's lonely, and she needs to have a loyal friend in her life, as well as a agency him. And she then doubts that his interest in her is pure for the sake of using her connections, her gallery, yes. And they started well by meeting, but becomes a very confusing, the communication. And she drops him. She dismisses because it'd be time consuming curating something for someone who is not, she's having trust issues. Which is what is happening out there, is a lack of trust, of finding a common ground and working together, right? Yeah. Collaborating and being one community, if you like, or yes. So the miscommunication really hurt him as well by feeling dismissed. And he wants an explanation for that. So, okay, an encounter, as I said, is connecting, falling out, and reconciling. And how does that happen? Through communicating again. So it's a film that deals about communication and how sometimes when we dismiss someone or go into or have a conflict with someone, it's not exactly what it appears to be. There are layers that,
so many layers.
so many layers.
It'd be so complicated.
It is complicated. And I'm hoping to express her reasons and his reasons, and then find that common ground that ultimately brings the reconciliation. So I'm very, very excited because I'm very happy with my cast. I'm very happy with the art that it pinpoints, is the setting of the story, as my character being an art curator. So it starts in an art gallery with an amazing display. I cannot spoil it.
We know the artist.
Yes. Yes, I hope to share the press kit, and then by the time this is live, people can have a look. People can read about it.
Your films are so deeply human, and how flawed and how it's beautiful. I really admire that. And what do you hope your films like change in people, even in a small way? Do you have a hope like that? That there's maybe...
Yes, I do. I'm finding my voice. This, as I said, will be my third short form film. Then I'm writing this feature screenplay. My stories are character-driven, female character-driven, and I think as women, what I want to put across is be brave, be yourself, be willing and open to your vulnerability. By being vulnerable, we connect because we're not surrounded by tigers. We are surrounded by human beings, as we are a human being, And I shared the watershed of my life, having had Alice, stillborn, which made me see what life is about. It's about life.
Yes.
Being alive and giving your best, your self-best of who you are here now. And then through that experience, what was that? 22 years ago, my whole world became very clear that for me, leaving my legacy, having my daughter, my second daughter, Rafaela, and enjoying that I was very fortunate to be able to do that. I understand as well that you cannot be a full-time parent and be out and about all day, in playgrounds, literally, in drop-ins and libraries, reading and dancing, and yes. But I wasn't doing just that. As I said, I had other things as well in the bag, with the writing of my plays and touring in schools and children's theaters and studying, reading a lot. So my messages, I hope I put that across in Sabbatical, and I hope I put that across in Choices. And then I'm also hoping to put this across in an Encounter, that we have to be ourselves, okay? Say what we mean what we say, being vulnerable to understand that we're not going to be attacked, because many women, many of us, I'm going to speak on my behalf, you would curb yourself just for the, we know that when men get emotional in the workplace, for instance, oh, that's very brave, that's very, remarkable, etc. When women get emotional, oh, not reliable. Insecure issues there, or weakness. No, I think we have to own our emotions and center ourselves in our humanity, believing in one another, not seeing competitors all around and tigers, as I said. It's really about self-love, what I want to portray ultimately. In an encounter, I'm very curious what my audiences will think of it, because Jana Barkan, at the surface, she's the baddie, okay, for dismissing, giving an opportunity to someone who comes to her and is talented and wants a display in her gallery of his work, promoting peace, etc. So up front, we see that this character like, oh, how diva or selfish or this or that. But no. She puts her case very well in the arc of the story. And this is a very, very brave thing, that she's, being herself to say, these are the reasons why I denied to you this opportunity. But we don't know the ending. So, yes, I'm not going to spoil.
We're not going to tell no, don't spoil.
But yes, that's. Did I answer the question? What I want to
you
live with my
stories?
stories? Okay, because I can talk forever.
And I love it. And when you talk, I don't know if you're aware of it, you make me so emotional, because it's not just words, and it's so clear with you. It's not just words. It's so much love, emotion, depth, and I'm just like, it's thank you. And it's when you talk, there's something that I feel, you reach me in such a deep way that I can feel the change in that moment. So thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's a reaction. It's not an action.
Yeah.
Okay. It's coming from you. I'm giving what I'm receiving. Really, I'm just reacting here. I'm not acting. It's you and Valeria, both of you, Eva and Valeria.
Thank you.
Bringing the best out of me.
Thank you.
We've been known to do that, I have to say. Joking. What I want to ask you, I mean, you also worked on big productions as an, assistant director department. I'm not sure what it involves. We want to ask you on films like Barbie, Back in Action, The Amateur, the things that are well known, How was that experience, and what did stepping into those large productions, large studios teach you?
Oh my goodness. I can tell so many stories and digress a lot, possibly. Well, it's madness, okay? And I love the madness.
Yes.
By now, I could have moved up in the ladder of assistant director department. I'm very happy to be a foot soldier, if you like. And I love the prepping side of it. I'm in the crowd department, so I work with background artists, supporting artists, as we call in this country, or in the beginning of the times, extras, if you like. So all titles to really say that I'm very happy to be in the soul and ambience of every film. My department is rock and roll. It's full on, okay? And since Back in Action, since The Amateur, really, because I've worked in other productions this year, I'm more into the pre-production the fittings of hair, makeup, costume, and that includes stunts and dancers and sometimes supporting actors that come along as well. So I'm the PA, AD of being the person running that on behalf of my head of the department, okay? Of connecting the dots with these amazing departments, because I'm telling you, it's a secret. Hair, makeup, and costume can break you or make you.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I'm saying for actors and for supporting artists, and for the director, for the whole entire film, really. I mean, how many times I was on set and the take would have to be retaken, not because of technical issues or the performance in itself, but because the costume design or the hair makeup wasn't happy with how it looked on frame. So let's give another take. Let's have another take. Obviously, it may not have ended in any final cut, but that's the power they have. They are there with the director, watching closely what's going on.
Yeah.
And myself on set with all the costume assistants and hair makeup assistants, we have to keep looking as well in the back, what's happening with the background, because number one is the ambience of the scene and has to be pristine, even if it's in or out of focus, you know.
I mean, particularly in Barbie. That was so important, that world, that, you know.
Absolutely, yes. Barbie was very special. Was a 6-month production. I started pretty much from the start, in February. We started shooting the day before my birthday in March, so I remember well when we started the film production, the production phase. And we worked with 95% of professional dancers. So they were not, you know, supporting artists. They were really important. They all credit, because as you know, supporting artists, background artists, they're not credited. Unless they give a couple of lines with at least 10 words. There are protocols I know of, because I have to know. But yes, the dancers, they were really part of the cast. They were cast in a sense. And my department looked after all the dancers. I had to manage the traveling of most of them from 4 o'clock in the morning for about 5 months.
Wow.
During the production side. We had tons of fun. Tons of fun. Perhaps by now I could upload all the, you know, behind the scenes clips and things I've done. Yes, no, I'm crediting these films. And I only have, everything's on IMDb, and you Google my name, I'm all over the internet. It's original, it's legitimate. I'm not making up anything. So I'm very, very happy. And it was, I mean, my major, most fun production was the amateur, in a sense that, I mean, that's when was again talking about Watershed. That in a sense professionally, Watershed came with the actors' strike in July 2023. Because the amateur was the production I was in, and I remember well, we received the news of is a strike on the 14th of July, and then we had another weekend shoot. We stopped on the 16th of July, that production. Then picked up in December when the actors' strike finished. In January 2024, I mean, the new year started last year, but by then I signed up for doing filmmaking master's degree, and delved into bringing to fruition Choices with Katarina Köhler, who I love to bits. Like myself, we are into Simone de Beauvoir, you know, female force and power on earth by being ourselves and not seeing others as tigers, and being brave and loving ourselves. So that was then my priority. And then I'm back this year for bread and butter sake, as well as fun, because I love what I do. I love the team I work with. I just love serving, working for and with crews, cast, supporting artists, the departments, you know, I have to deal with. Yeah.
This has been wonderful with you. You are so bubbly, and just as I said, you are art. It's for me. You just are art. You breathe it, you live it, you are it. I want to thank you so much for touching my heart and ours. I'm sure Valeria and I had
thank you.
several times tears in our eyes, for being so open, as I said, so bubbly, and sharing your life with us, which is very inspiring, I have to say. And we're looking forward to, continuing, seeing where you're going to go and maybe get you back, which would be amazing, on this podcast. So thank you so much for your precious time.
Oh, thank you. I'm ever so grateful. This has been a wonderful experience. Maybe I can include in my next film, in my story, anyway, if you allow me.